Thank you all for being here on a beautiful Saturday. Really appreciate you all being out. I'm really excited about today. A couple of housekeeping things really quick. First of all, my name's Corey Fry. I'm the exhibitions manager here at the Delaplane. So if you need anything, just let me know. But I want to encourage you to take some time in our galleries and check out the artwork that's around. You're sitting in our National Juried Exhibition, one half of it. If you go through the brick wall here, the opening there, you'll be in the remaining part of the National Juried Exhibition. There's 18 different states represented in the exhibition this year, and we had, I can't remember the numbers now, but I think it was close to 500 pieces of art that were submitted for the show. But take some time and walk around. I know some of our poets maybe have only seen the digital images that they've been writing poetry for, so you can check out the work in person. There's some great ceramic work in our side gallery, which is just adjacent to the East Gallery through the brick wall, by Danielle Hawk. That's worth checking out. And then on our second floor, there's two galleries upstairs. The Hall Gallery, which is work by Michael Bruner. Michael has a piece in the show just right beside the TV there, and he won third place in our National Juried Exhibition 2 years ago. And then there's our Moreland Gallery on the second floor that is work by Robert Cantor. So really good stuff. Take some time to check it out. If you just wandered in here and you don't know what the program's about, this is our second attempt at an Ekphrastic event. Let's see, back in November, we worked with the Maryland Writers Association, the Frederick Chapter, and we sent them digital images of all of the photography in our National Juried Photography exhibition. And then poets selected photographs, and they wrote poems based off of the visual stimulus of, the imagery, which is what Ekphrasis is. Ekphrastic is working from visual stimulus to create a poem. So we had a blast doing it, and we wanted an excuse to do it again. And we thought that this would be a good opportunity because this is a national show that deals with any medium. So that, the poets were able to choose from sculpture to photographs to paintings to collage, whatever. And so we'll scroll through and show you the artwork that the poem was written, maybe not about, but in consideration of, as the poets read. And I think that's all. I think that's everything before we get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Carrie Martindale, and Carrie is going to come and tell us a few things, and Carrie has a poem that she's going to read as well. So Carrie is the president of the Frederick Chapter of the Maryland Writers Association. Her words have been published in a variety of journals and anthologies and nominated for several awards, including the Pushcart Prize. She's been featured in poetry and spoken word events across Maryland, and you can check out some of her work and information about her at carrieannmartindale.com. So, Carrie, let's give her a round of applause.
So, once again, thank you so much for partnering with us. We've appreciated this opportunity to join with, the visual art, and it's been great to see what comes out of these paintings over the past few events. So, thank you so much for having us. So I did a short poem to cut, and it's called Red. Red paint drips from her tiny fingers as she proudly holds up her creation. She did it all by herself. Mommy, isn't it pretty? It's beautiful. Nail polish sits neatly inside her cuticles, red dripping down the bottle. She did it all by herself. Mom, aren't they pretty? They're beautiful. Forearms kept to themselves, red lines under a row of bracelets up to their elbows, by themselves, in their rooms. All the girls are doing it. Why aren't we pretty, they ask. Like waters and nail polish, tears drip from mothers' eyes. Why can't they see they're beautiful?
I don't usually preface my poems because I feel like they should stand alone, but for a little bit of context, I think it's important to know about my background. I was a teenage reality TV star. When I was 18, I won a season of America's Next Top Model and kind of overnight became known internationally as the winner, so that changed my life quite a bit. Burnt Offering. Dear Gratitude, I have an offer for you. If you choose to accept, do not send me the paper money, nor your gold-capped teeth, nor steel-toed mountains. Don't send me silver-dipped aspen leaves, nor palladium stadiums. Don't send me diamond fingernails to scratch down my back, nor crystal-crusted buttes to survey. No, send me on my way. A list numbered 10, hurriedly written, ink smears on napkin scraps. This is what I have given you. I have given you that new canvas, the gently used clothing, the upgraded smartphone, the 3% raise. But I have another bounty for you this time. I have written my own little name on brittle paper that now turns to ashes in your furnace of overwrought passions. Take me. I come to you burned by the blue glow of screens flashing simulacra of me, but gelid inside. Send no more synchronicities, excellent timings, nor fated meetings. Send me on my way. Please accept this burnt offering. I come to you lined in fox fur, bound with chain links, chained to a famous former name. I give you the B movies, the commercials and magazine spreads. I give you the internet rankings, her famous quotes, and her best moments compilations. I give you her celebrity astrological profile and her hottest makeouts montage. My dearest Gratitude, here is the sedition. I will give you her, and in return, please send me nothing, but send me on my way. Yours, Burnt Offering.
Hi. The trail to the stream. We cut it long ago, after King and the Kennedys, but before Kent State. Deep in the Ohio woods, lush with trees of substance and punctuated with the stony detritus of the final glacier, strewn about like the toys of a giant baby. Red oak, white oak, shagbark, hickory, maple, beech carpeted the hills and the gorge, the woods so large one name didn't cover it: glen, gorge, park, camp, reserve, mill, all the same wilderness. No one remembered what the Shawnee called this forest, though their aura still permeated the air as if they walked up ahead beyond the morning mist. A cool breeze frosted my cheeks under the crisp canopy of canary, scarlet, and tangerine. Brown leaves skittered over my boots and chattered as Brenda and I beat at the briars, building our trail through the woods. There had never been a path here, through this section of forest, down this hill, to that stream. One ancient trail led to the spring where iron-strong water slid over rocks, stained them canary and tangerine to match the overhead leaves. That trail, cut by game, trod by the indigenous, then settlers, and finally the hikers and tree lovers and huggers. Other paths led deeper into the woods, to the river, to the old stagecoach route, to nowhere in particular. But our trail spooled from the nature center, out along the ridge, then downhill to the stream. For months we worked on weekends. Our mentor, a lank-haired, Lincoln-esque college boy with an axe as long as his arm. Brenda and I chopped saplings, tugged up roots, moved stones, raked dirt. He hewed away the bigger obstacles. On Saturdays, we wore flannel shirts, corduroy pants, sheath knives on our hips, and worried about poison ivy as we scraped away the impediments opposing us. On Mondays, we pecked away in typing class, imprisoned in girdles, garter belts, slips, petticoats, and worried about the Sadie Hawkins Day dance. In the headiness of spring, our byway reached the stream. Clear waters tumbled down toward the river, too busy for tadpoles, shallow enough to wade. An amphitheater of flat stones edged the water, beckoned wanderers to rest, to contemplate, to open themselves up. We had earned our scout badge and moved on, hewing and hacking other paths through other woods for those who would come after. Big-trunked deciduous trees still widen, add age rings, free fall, crash with a lightning strike or a windstorm. Seedlings and saplings sprout at their feet, anxious to take their place in the never-ending rising and falling. Our trail remains in the forest, nameless, with no bronze plaque like the boys had for their Eagle projects. Yet the path is a success. Feet of every color, every size, pad down our pathway. Enough footsteps to keep the deadly yet delicious Mayapples at bay. Enough travel to keep the trail open. They follow its gentle meandering down to the stream. The only named wanderer is my child. I don't know the others. I never will. Who they are or what they think as they follow our path in the woods and the other paths we cut through our time. Thank you.
I'm Linda Detro, and I want to thank the Delaplane Arts Center and Frederick County Chapter of the Maryland Writers for the opportunity. It's inspired me to complete a second of 4 pieces of work that I have planned on doing for a few years. I had written a poem personifying winter, and when I saw this piece of art for autumn, it seemed to inspire me to do the second one. This is my version of The Last Leaf. As twilight waned, a gentle breeze brushed softly through the mighty oak, exposed its barren branches longed for what had been its golden cloak. But one last leaf, detached and lone from high above while floating free, embarked in thoughtful conversation with the naked, aged-old tree. Why the sigh? The leaf did probe in undulant descent, while taking care to listen close and comprehend the oak's lament. I'd love to hear your stories as I frolic up and down, for dare I have but just a while before I light upon the ground. I'm musing all my seasons past, their splendors tucked in memory, and Mother Nature's brilliant plans to show them off so poignantly. I long to feel the robin's nest tucked snugly in my sheltering boughs until their tiny eggs do crack and springtime baby birds arouse. I thirst to taste the drops of dew that blessed each early morning rise and hear the buzzing honeybees encircle round their busy hives. I yearn to sense the summer heat lays heavy through my verdant leaves, while shielding sweet young couples as they picnic 'neath their shaded eaves. And when at last the basking sun ebbs slowly into autumn's blush, when cooling winds and harvest marks the soon-to-come of winter months, I'll miss the glow and fiery show of color spread throughout my girth, till one by one my patches gold submit their hold and fall to earth. Oh, mighty oak, how proud I've been to share with you the seasons past And as I reach my final rest beneath your stately frame, at last, though only one in moss to fall, I'll gather with my brothers too, in hopes to blanket round your bark, to help protect and shelter you. For this, my precious drifting leaf, I tender thanks and humbly yield that time has come for Mother Nature's winter land to be revealed. And though she'll bear a bitter cold and storm her winter's angry moan, upon my limbs she'll grace with snow, revealing calm her gentle tone. Then, as the last leaf touched the ground, the mighty oak had near succumbed to passive sleep and dormancy for winter season months to come, when sudden, round the aged old tree, a dauntless gust of wind took wrath and seized in hold the mound of gold it found to be within its path. With one last sigh, the mighty oak swayed gracious towards the leaf's new flight, till Mother Nature blooms next spring. Good night, last leaf, good night.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Roderick DC. I'd like to thank Corey for giving us this opportunity to read again. We enjoyed this room last time, and I'm enjoying it again. It's nice to see so many people here as well. That's great. Okay, this particular photo inspired me to write a short story. But then the short story ended up by being about 8-9 minutes long, so I decided that was probably not a good idea. So I redid it as a narrative poem. And it's called Sky's Story. So it is a little story. Imagine, I don't know if any of you remember Andrea Codrescu's little 5 or 6 minute interludes on NPR. He stopped doing them about 4 or 5, 6, 7 years ago. Well, they used to be very entertaining on NPR when there was a space. They would throw in him talking, and he would either read a poem or an essay or give some commentary and so on. And so I'm trying to do the same sort of thing. So bear with me for 5 minutes. Sky's Story. I first connected to this mystery when I was 6. I already loved to stare into the brilliant blue of the day sky, and at night the swath of stars called the Milky Way spoke of faraway worlds just ripe for dreaming. We lived deep in the country, embedded in fields and woods, so I wandered locally but went where the world took me. One morning I was checking for jackdaws' nests in the hollow walnut trees that dotted the hayfield, when I saw something blue along the hedgerow. Maybe water, but it hadn't rained for a while. I climbed down the ancient walnut to take a closer look, and then it was obvious what it was. It was a slab of sky, with a few clouds and a flying bird or two, plus some tree branches. Seems that stupid chicken may have been right. The sky was falling, or at least some pieces of it were. Looking more closely, the big chunk had brought a few small fragments along for the ride. I was only 6 years old and had no idea how impossible this whole situation was. Just then, my mother called me for lunch. In the distance, I had to leave. If I missed lunch, I would have to wait until supper to eat. I pocketed a golf ball-sized piece of sky and ran for home. When I came back in the afternoon, the fallen sky was gone, leaving a patch of flattened grass. All of the pieces had vanished with one notable exception: the lump in the pocket of my shorts, bouncing against my leg. I thought fast. Inside my pocket, I wrapped the sky fragment in my handkerchief. We all carried handkerchiefs back then. I didn't want the piece to be accidentally exposed to sunlight, in case that was what had caused the other bits to disappear. I decided I would examine my strange fallen treasure in my bedroom later, safely beneath the covers. The rest of the day dragged, but finally it was supper time. Then we listened to the radio until I escaped to bed. Under the covers, I unwrapped my piece of sky. It was egg-shaped with a stony skin and flattened ends. One end was black and opaque like a piece of flint, but the other was dark blue. And what a wonder. Holding it to my eye like a telescope, I had a panoramic view of the night sky, complete with stars, tiny clouds, and an owl. It gave me an immense feeling of peace and calm. I fell asleep looking at the whole night sky. When I woke, sunlight was streaming in. I checked the sky stone, saw the blue sky, and felt peace and calm as before. I realized this treasure must be kept secret, or I would lose it to grown-ups, or maybe it would vanish like the other pieces. So began my time with the magical sky stone. Ostensibly, it never offered more than views of the sky, but the feeling of calm it brought to me was the true treasure. The sky stone soothed me all through school and college. I kept my personal mood therapist on my person at all times, secure in my father's old drawstring watch bag. And so the years passed, until one day I was teaching a class of 10-year-olds some rudimentary chords on guitar. I felt for the sky stone, but its reassuring presence was gone. I peeled out the black bag. It was empty. Apparently, the sky stone had finally disappeared like the other pieces of sky, but 20 years later. I was devastated. The feelings of loss and sadness that washed over me were overwhelming. And of course, I no longer had the soothing properties of the sky stone to keep me calm. I decided I would use the rest of my time on the planet to track down another piece of sky. After 50 years and counting, I was beginning to think I was fooling myself, that I had dreamed the whole episode. Then I saw this recent photograph. It clearly shows a teenage child skirting a piece of fallen sky, just like the one I had found all those years ago. I know it is labeled as a puddle, but what else could they say? Now I'm filled with hope again. I know it was not a dream. My thanks go to the photographer. I rise each morning saying, today is the day. Today I'll finally find another piece of sky. And tonight I'll fall asleep at peace, holding all the stars in the universe in the palm of my hand. Thank you.
I'm Joni Yaus. Would like to thank Corey, the Delaplane Maryland Writers Association, for having us again. This was a lot of fun in the fall. Thank you. My piece is actually in the room. It's over there. It's Untitled by Carol A. Jason, and that puzzled me a little bit because I saw wooden flight. I want to soar, so I crawl, walk, run away from a life almost done. The past is solid, strong with cracks, built from discarded hopes and dreams no longer realized or wanted. This is not what I see in the blueprint of my mind.
What will it take to rise above, spread my wings, and land safely again? Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Corey and Carrie, for organizing this. My name is Pam Brunel, and I've published this book of poetry called Beloving. We lived in Africa for 16 years, so this is about our life in Africa. That's my son with his arms wrapped around an elephant on the cover, and it's on Amazon. So this poem I wrote, Why Does She Paint? Because I discovered after Googling Carol that she has many wonderful paintings on her website. Why does she paint? How do we fully behold, grasp, let go of the thoughts, the words swirling, and allow the spirits, the ancestors, to channel through us? How can we become open to the flow, the universal harmony? She is here now, for in her is a spirit, unique, subtle, certain, tranquil. She embraces the spectrum of line, color, value, shape. She searches for balance and patterns to capture this moment. She wanders the summer paths and ponders the milkweed pods, popped open with white, silky fluffiness, spurting out from the inside, umbrellaed, tiny seeds. The milkweed beckons the monarch butterflies, flapping orange wings, floating onto wildflowers, gracing the silent space. She walks through the prickly, wild, vine-berry thorns. They cling to her legs. She takes a picture to celebrate their existence. She ventures into a field of yellow wildflowers and purple bergamot. Honeybees drink in the nectar, painting. Perhaps a new image will emerge. She paints to bring everything into being, these daily miracles, to birth them, to witness them, to behold them. She paints to awaken the splendor of light within. She lives in the rainbow of existence. Thank you.
Back again. Short poem this time, you'll be relieved to hear. This is a villa now. And if you look at the picture, you'll see the cat is sitting by the empty dish waiting to be fed. He is staring into the room where there is a strange person. And this poem is called Training the Lady Next Door. Time to feed me. You've been told, I'm sure. You're new at this, so I won't make a fuss. But bear in mind that I'm a carnivore. There's no meat in that bag by the door. Just lumps of cardboard sprayed with protein dust. I need real meat. You understand, I'm sure. The dog wolfs down that fake crap begs for more. My stomach craves flesh. Do you get my gist? Goes along with being a carnivore. I don't need ribeye when you hit the store. I'm fine with liver or the cheaper cuts. I just need meat. That's crystal clear, I'm sure. Or I'll take tuna. I like albacore. Raw and fresh is best. Canned if needs must. Fish makes a nice change for a carnivore. Wait, you're the one who feeds the birds next door. I don't hunt birds. I don't like feathers much. So I won't eat your feathered friends, I'm sure. Now please find meat to feed this carnivore.
You probably notice a faint resemblance to the artist's name and my name. He's my brother. So my poem is so short. I mean, it's about 15 seconds long. So I think what I'd like to do is indulge, if you'll indulge me, to talk about the painting, because it will help to, I think, give some insight into the poem. So my brother is a meditator. He's been meditating for half a century. This painting actually emerged from one of his meditations. And, you know, meditation is like being visited by the muse, I think. You know, you sort of go into a passive state and let the pen write the words on the page. In this case, Bob basically followed the brush. But as it sometimes happens when you're visited by the muse, things come out that have meaning that you don't even intend. You find out about it later. So with this painting, you'll notice that on the left side, there's deep shadow, and on the right, there's light. So there's a horizontal movement across the painting from shadow to light. Also, notice these two large squares. The white one in the foreground is backed by one that's dimmer in the background. A red, you don't see the whole thing, but there's another red square back there. So this painting actually gains three-dimensional space, and that's what the poem is about. Pulse echoes in the space between the shouts of the lighted world. Things come, things go. Quiet, you can almost hear them there where everything falls inward. The space between breathes in, out, then out and out and out.
Well, Carrie, did you want to say anything else? Are you good? Okay.
Thank you. Actually, thank you to all of the poets and, of course, the artists. But it was wonderful to hear what has come from these paintings from all of you.
Yeah, thank you all very much for you poets for your time and attention and your thoughtfulness. And thank you for the rest of you for being here. Take some time and check out the artwork in person. I'm sure the poets will probably hang out for a little while too if you have any questions for them or want to chat with them. The other thing I wanted to mention quick is, again, if you scan the QR code at the end of the PDF file are little biographies about each of the poets and some links and things where you can find some more of their work. But thank you all very much for taking the time to be out here today, and let us know if we can do anything for you. So have a good Saturday.
Thank you.